Hi, my name's Brian. I use he and him pronouns, and I have the distinct honor of being the CEO of StartOut, and I'm thrilled to have you all here today to join us. And let's see how we bounce this. Oh, thank you. Oh, I messed it up. Sorry about that. Oops. So, first of all, how many of y'all are founders, actually, or entrepreneurs? Let me hear if I, like, just shout out, like, woo! Yay. Oh, this is exciting. This is great. And actually, as we were watching the video, I realized Tracy Keene, who was in there, and Mate Fertility is her company. She graduated from our accelerator lab a few years ago. Yes, thanks. Sorry about that. She just had an exit about 2 months ago and had her company acquired, which is fantastic and something that she's been working for. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yes. Especially as like a proud career woman doing her thing and making it happen. She made it happen, which is fantastic. So as I was saying, my name is Brian. I'm the CEO of StartOut, and it's an honor to be here, especially because this is our first ever in-person equity summit. So I don't know if you've been on our virtual equity summits before, but they started in I think, March of 2020, which is a really bad time to start something new. So we're really excited to be here in person this time around, and because we know when it's that in-person connection, that's when you're able to meet new founders. That's when you're able to meet new investors. That's when those new ideas spark. And also when you get the power of community, right? Because the power of community is what makes the real difference for us. But yesterday, I'd be remiss not to mention that yesterday, obviously, we celebrated Juneteenth, National Independence Day. Yeah, for real. And as you likely know, on January 1st, 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect. However, it took 2.5 years until June 19th, 1865, for that news to reach the shores of Galveston, Texas. And it wasn't until then that slavery was finally effectively eradicated. And of course, that still didn't end racism. It still didn't end oppression. It still didn't end inequities in our society. And that's why we recognize Juneteenth, to both celebrate the progress that was made and the work that it took to that progress, but also to recommit ourselves to the work that there is still to do. And I think as I think about work that there's still to do, I think over the last several years, the queer community has made enormous progress as a community. Today, you can get married. Today, you can serve in the military. But there's still a lot of problems and barriers facing queer community members. There still don't say gay laws on the books or being passed as we speak. There are still book bans happening in libraries across the country. There's still trans kids who are told that they can't go to a doctor who will just even use their own pronouns when they speak to them. And that's a huge challenge. But we can work together and make that difference. And even in entrepreneurship, we've made enormous progress, like Tracy's company just being sold, but there are still real challenges. You saw in the video, right? That there are still queer founders who are less likely to get funded than their straight cis counterparts. And when we do get funded, we only get 84 cents on the dollar relative to our cis queer counterparts. And that doesn't make sense, because why? Queer founders are fabulous. We are more likely to hire more people. We file more patents. We have a bigger economic impact in our communities and a bigger return on investment for our investors. And so it makes sense to invest in queer founders, and makes sense for queer founders to keep moving forward, because yes, we're fabulous. And it makes sense, right? Like when you think of the skills that queer people had to develop and use as teenagers or pre-adolescents, flexibility, perseverance, resilience, all of those skills are the same skills that are necessary to be a great entrepreneur. And so we're trained in the School of Life to move forward and to get it done as queer people and as entrepreneurs. Sorry, I'm getting off script a little bit. Oh, I already said that. There we go. But at StartOut, our goal is to try to help queer entrepreneurs build their companies and draw them to scale. But really, it's not just about individual entrepreneurs, right? It's about building a movement toward economic opportunity and economic justice. A movement that will take time, but that we will win. And so when I say movement, I typically think back to my 8th grade social studies teacher. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. I was waiting for someone to go, yeah, but no one did that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, oh yeah, roll tide, roll. Thank you. So Mrs. Thomas was my 8th grade social studies teacher, and she was a phenomenal teacher. And she grew up in Birmingham, Alabama as well. 20 years prior to me, she was in high school in the 60s. And Mrs. Thomas is a Black woman. And she grew up in segregated schools in Birmingham. And so, like so many of her classmates, she walked out of her schools to protest that segregation. And like so many students in Birmingham at the time, her friends had fire hoses sprayed on them by the police officers, and attack dogs sicked on them. And to learn social studies from a woman who lived through the civil rights movement and fought through the civil rights movement was eye-opening for me. And one lesson that she taught that I had quite honestly forgotten about until I took this job a year ago was about who led the civil rights movement. And she would ask us, why was it typically in every town and in every city across the country, why was it always the preachers that read the local civil rights movements? And our class would respond like, oh, they were really good orators, or they were connected to the community, or they had a moral obligation. And she would say, yes, that's part of the reason. But she said the real reason why it was the preachers who led the civil rights movement was because they were the only folks in the community whose paychecks were usually written by Black folks. They were the only folks who had the economic independence and financial security to lead a protest on Sunday and not get fired on Monday. And so think about that. Like, if you're going to make social progress in our country, oh shit, I did it again. Sorry. That was like a nice moment too, but there we go. Café con leche. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I keep messing this up. It was such a nice emotional moment too. But do think about that. Like, if you're going to make social progress in this country, you can't make social progress without economic progress. And so the idea of queer entrepreneurship is revolutionary, because if we can create companies that are queer, we're going to create more job opportunities for queer folks. And so at StartOut, we're in the business of providing economic opportunity to individual entrepreneurs, and those entrepreneurs in the business of providing economic opportunity for their customers, for their boards, and for their team members. But if we can do that at scale and provide more opportunities for more queer businesses, it's not economic opportunity. It becomes economic justice across the country. And so that's what I mean when I talk about movements. And that's what StartOut's really about, and why I'm so excited to be with all of you here today. And quite honestly, if we can build those economic opportunities and build that economic justice, we're going to have a lot to celebrate this Pride Month and every Pride Month here on out. I wrote something in my handwriting, and I have no idea what I wrote. So that's okay. But I will just end to say, because I've been up here talking a lot, happy Juneteenth, happy Pride Month, and now let's get to work. Yay! Thank you. So before I introduce Regina and Jay, who are our first two speakers today, I have the distinct honor of thanking a lot of folks. So I'm that guy who now gets to rattle off a lot of different names. So please bear with me, but it's important to say these names because it takes a village to get this sort of stuff done. But first, I want to thank all of you for being here and showing up and being queer or being an ally and being proud and wanting to start a company or help folks start a company too, because that's huge. And I can't wait to meet you. If I haven't met you yet already, please come up and say hello later. And I also want to thank everyone who's online. We have virtual attendees who are signing in as well today who aren't in the Bay Area. So thank you all for joining us online, wherever you may be. Yay. And next, I want to thank the StartOut staff that is here today, especially Danny and Zueto, who's right there in the back. More than anyone else, Danny has put all of this together, was the brainchild behind this, and thank you, Danny, for making today a success. I also want to thank Kat, Chris, Philip, Allison, Krista, and our newest member, Herman, who actually doesn't even join StartOut till Monday, but decided to come on down anyway to help. So hi, Herman. Thank you. Also to all of our volunteers, especially the programming board, who spent countless hours and were downstairs checking you in and doing things. Allison, George, James, Kelly, and then our volunteer chair, Brad. Is Brad up here or is he downstairs working? Yeah, Brad, who has helped put all of this together in record time as well too. So thank you, Brad. Only a few more names. Everyone on our San Francisco programming board, some of whom are here today, especially Alex, who's our chair of that board. And then our incredible sponsors, and you've probably met some of them, but JP Morgan, UBS, Dell, Amazon Web Services, Google Ventures, Visa, T-Mobile, Silicon Valley Bank, JustWorks, GitHub, and Microsoft. especially Milo, who's not here, but he first connected us to LinkedIn, and Ryan Husk, who's also not here, who first connected us to Milo. And I say the two of them because the final thank you is to LinkedIn for opening up their offices. And all the sponsors that I just mentioned, I was listening to NPR this morning because I'm a big old nerd, and they were talking about how companies are scaling back their Pride support this year because all sorts of reasons, right? I'm not going to go into that. We're a nonpartisan organization. But it means so much to have so many companies that I just rattled off there here with us today and standing with the queer community, including LinkedIn, for opening up their doors and providing this space for us to do this. So thank you to those companies. One day, our entrepreneurs hope to challenge you all in the marketplace because they're going to grow and create such great companies. But thank you for making this happen. And with LinkedIn, talking about LinkedIn, I want to say thank you especially to Regina and Jay, who I'd like to invite to the stage right now to welcome you to LinkedIn. Oh, there we are. Yeah, hey.
Awesome, thank you, Brian. Well, hi everyone, welcome to LinkedIn. I'm Regina, she, her, and today I'm representing Autatin, which is our queer employee resource group at LinkedIn. I myself been leading our SF chapter for the last 2 years, and one of my absolute favorite parts of this role is bringing and uniting queer community both within LinkedIn and beyond. So today, I couldn't be more excited to see all of you coming from different industries, different roles, but all united together. Please use today as an opportunity to have fun, celebrate each other, and don't forget to connect on LinkedIn, of course. I'll pass this to my South Bay partner, Jay.
Thank you, Regina. As Regina just said, my name is Jay. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I am a co-lead for the Bay Area with a special focus on our office in Mountain View, our headquarters. Outed has been part of LinkedIn for over 10 years now, providing support, community, resources, et cetera, to our LGBT plus employees. We host all different kinds of events, career coaching, workshops, working with different nonprofits and entrepreneurs. So if you would like to have an event and coordinate with us, hit me up on LinkedIn, of course. Yeah, I'd also like to take a quick second to acknowledge that today is World Refugee Day. And recognize the intersecting issues of diversity and inclusion, which are crucial in creating safe spaces for all individuals. And initiatives like StartOut, like what you all are doing as well, play a pivotal role in advocating for equality and empowerment for marginalized communities and echo a broader message of acceptance and respect for everyone. So just want to do that shout out. Thank you all for being here. And thanks, of course, to our events team as well, who worked incredibly hard for all this. Appreciate you all. And thanks.